I wasn't shocked on the news of Tom Brady's retirement, but I'm sure it probably caught a few NFL GMs who were looking for a future QB1 by surprise. And joining us to discuss how this could affect the QB market heading into next season is New York Post Ryan Dunleavy. Ryan, there you go. Tom Brady. It's official for as long as it's official. He's retired. Let's start with some of these teams that were looking for a quarterback. We'll start with the Raiders. Head coach Josh McDaniels and the Raiders have moved on from Derek Carr. McDaniels had a long history with Brady. So do you think that they were planning on bringing Tom Brady in? And what do they do now that he's officially retired?
Well, I'll start with the last part, Brandon. What do they do now? They probably go to Tom Brady light and get Jimmy Garoppolo, right? That's Bill Belichick wanted to do that like a decade ago and move on to him. So that's probably where they turn their focus, which isn't great news for the Jets if Garoppolo is in their plans, as it seems to be. So that's probably where they'll go because McDaniels has a level of familiarity with Garoppolo like he did with Brady. But yeah, I certainly think they'll never admit it, but I certainly think part of moving on from Carr was planning for Brady. Now, you'd like to think McDaniels got the heads up before yesterday, before the rest of the world, that he isn't coming, but plan B, he better have a plan B, because when McDaniels was the Broncos head coach and he went from moved on from Jay Cutler and he ended up with Kyle Orton and Tim Tebow, that's a way to get fired in 2 years.
Yeah, and he's on that hot seat. He was on the hot seat this year. Let's move on to the next biggest name. That's AR-15, Aaron Rodgers. A lot of teams could possibly trade for him, but now that Brady's out of the picture, how do you think that's going to affect Green Bay's asking price?
I think it's going to go up. I think anybody who was in the market for a short-term fix. Now, look, some of these teams, the Texans aren't in line for a short-term fix. The Jets, they're in line for a short-term fix. The Raiders, they're in line for a short-term fix. These are coaches on hot seats. They're owners who want to win now. I think the asking price goes up because all of a sudden there's one less win now option out there in Tom Brady. So, yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers if he was 1A and 1B premium assets with Brady, now there's a 1, and then there's a long drop to Derek Carr at 2.
Yesterday's price is not today's price, and it happens just like that. All right, last but not least, the NFC South. I could be a starting quarterback in that division. Now that Brady officially retired, how do you see that division shaking out when it comes to quarterbacks?
You mean, do I think Kyle Trask, PJ Walker, I don't even know. Who's the same? Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder. Like, put it this way, I see that division shaking out with whoever gets the best quarterback, basically. Those aren't going to be the starting quarterbacks. There's just no chance that Todd Bowles, another guy on the hot seat, is going to go into the season with Kyle Trask or Blaine Gabbert. 2 guys under contract right now. Winston and Mariota probably won't be on their teams next year. Darnold's a free agent. He could re-sign with the Panthers, though I'm sure they're looking for an upgrade. Andy Dalton's a free agent. He could re-sign with the Saints, though I'm sure they're looking for an upgrade. Basically, I see it as whoever gets the best quarterback, and that's probably, and if Carr isn't a Jet, he probably ends up somewhere in the NFC South, maybe Carolina, and that could certainly be the place. And if the Giants somehow end up letting Daniel Jones go, which I don't think is possible, but if they somehow didn't franchise tag him and didn't re-sign him to a big deal, you could see Carolina calling him home too.
Well, we're going to be talking about these quarterbacks throughout the entire offseason. It's a quarterback-driven league. Ryan Dunleavy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.